Welcome to the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver, brought to you by Arlo Revolution. Each week, Aaron connects melodies and memories with fans and artists from all genres of life. When all else in life is gone, only music will be left to leave the legacy of life's adventures. Please welcome your host for the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, Aaron Shriver.
What's going on, everybody? It's going to be a fun one tonight. I'm excited for this one. All right. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Every week, it's just been getting better and better. The show just keeps on trucking along. And what I thought was going to be like a 25 episode, bring on some of my buddies from the original church choir, turned into something massive. And now we're gaining on 50 episodes in a couple weeks. So pretty excited. The 50th episode is going to be a big one. It's going to be a lot of fun. But before we jump into tonight's show, welcome to episode 47 of the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast, a place where we connect melodies to memories with both fans, artists, and some of the most interesting people in and around the music community. I'm your host, Aaron Shriver. Tonight and every week, we are presented by our good friends over at Arlo Revolution. As you saw the video when we started off, if you are listening to this back on the streaming services, I urge you to kind of watch this some weekend so you can see the little promo video they put together. But cinematic wedding films, music videos, and promos. You can find them at arlorevolution.com and on Facebook at Arlo Revolution. And then to our on-screen sponsors, Art on a Higher Wire by Joel, original and custom artwork inspired by your life moments, treasured photos, and memories. You can find her all over Facebook. And Corey Oliphant and the original church choir. And speaking of that, my guest tonight is part of the original church choir, and I'm awesome to have Corey and everybody every week kind of supporting the show, because it wouldn't be where it is today without everybody. If you are out there listening, either on the streaming side or on Facebook, and you're looking for ways to help support the show and help us grow together, our heart of the show is our Patreon. Tiers start just at $1, and our current goal is at $75, and we just hit our current goal earlier today. So thank you for everybody for the first 75 that has been a part of this Patreon. I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I'm going to look for something really cool. We're going to do something cool for those 75 and get something happening with that. We're going to do something fun. We'll see what happens. But so we finally hit our current goal. And also I want to throw out there that most of our sponsorships are a tax write-off. So we do have currently 2 on-screen sponsorships. On-screen sponsors are what you see during the entire show right here on the screen, and you will see them in the show notes going forward. So we do have 2 of those available, and we just recently hit 300,000 views. So if you're going to have your logo seen on the screen to 300,000 people, it's a pretty big thing. But if Patreon is maybe something you can't do at this time, then anywhere you can find the show. I mean, we are everywhere. We just landed on Pandora. We might be coming to Audible and Amazon very soon. So I was actually contacted by them, which is awesome. But you can find the show anywhere. So anywhere you can find the show, if you could just like it, subscribe to it, share it. If you could do 5-star reviews, that'd be amazing, because just to help us get back in those charts and keep climbing them. The numbers are looking really good. I'm not going to say anything yet because I don't want to jinx myself, but the numbers from the month of August, our streaming numbers are looking phenomenal. And if you haven't looked or haven't catched the show yet live, which we are tonight, every Tuesday night, we are live at 7 p.m. Central on our Facebook page. And it's a place where you can interact with the show. You can come on, ask the guest questions, and be heard during the podcast. So we definitely film it live, record it live every Tuesday, and just want you guys to be a part of it. So, but all of our links will be in the show notes. I did share our Patreon link in the comments just now. But if you guys are in the chat, drop a link or drop where you guys are from. I wonder who's watching tonight, where you guys are at. So I keep on getting some overseas listeners. I want to see how far we could get one week. But moving on, and as we go into this, we were just talking about Patreon, but this month we are doing a pretty big giveaway. So last week we have Miss Jamie Suttle on. It was an amazing show. We're going to have a little merch pack by her, a couple of Eric Church items, and a gift card. Well, 2 gift cards and a book. Man, it's going to be a good drawing this month. So tons of good stuff. The giveaways for the drawing start at just $5. What's up, Virginia? Mr. Will Long. I'm going to be down in Lynchburg in October, buddy. We need to talk about that. So make sure, if you guys are not in our Patreon, to get on that as soon as you can and check it out, because these giveaways are just awesome. And another thing you get if you're not on our Patreon, but you get the after show. So the after show is something really fun we do on a private Facebook page every week. If you are in our $5 sponsorship or higher, you have entry to the after show every week. And tonight, I'm bringing back 2 season 1 guests, Mr. Jason Speed and one of our sponsors, Corey Oliphant. And we're going to hang out, just us 4. And I don't know what we're going to talk about, but there might be some stories we shouldn't be telling, maybe told tonight. So if you definitely have not watched any of our after shows, we just have a good time. We have fun. We just sit back and just have a good time telling stories. So tonight's gonna be one to check out. So before we bring our guest on tonight, I do want to mention one last thing before we move on, and that is a good friend and a former guest of the show, Mr. Tucker Bethard. His album King drops this Friday or Thursday at 11 o'clock, if you know that little trick. But Thursday, Friday, his new album drops. I highly suggest that you check out this album. The songwriting and the layout of this album is just amazing. It is entitled King for his late brother who passed away in December, Clayton King Bethard. So definitely check this out, because this album, all the songs on it that I've heard so far, either he played live or anywhere, is just going to blow you away. And it's probably going to be one of the best albums of 2020 so far. So if you get your hands on it this Friday, check it out. It's going to be amazing. Really good album. I'm actually going out of town this weekend, so I got a 4-hour drive each way. So it's going to play a lot. I think my wife's going to hate me in the car, but it's going to be a fun one. So we're going to move on. I went a couple minutes over, but that's all right. Tonight, we're going to bring on a buddy of mine that I've known for the longest time. He was a groomsman in my wedding. We have been hanging out since day one of this whole church thing, and it's been a blast, man. We got some stories. I don't know if we're going to get to all of them tonight, but RJ and I go real far back, and it's going to be a good show. So welcome none other than my good buddy and fellow original church choir member, Mr. RJ Smith. What's up, man?
Hey, Aaron, how you been, buddy?
Good. How you been doing, dude?
Oh, I'm doing pretty well.
Cup, I see that. Look at that.
Yeah, I got my 4 fingers of Jack Gold tonight, so we're doing good.
I got my. I'll cheers you some water for tonight.
Yeah, luckily I work from home, so I don't.
I'm on about 230 days of not drinking so far, so I gotta keep it rolling for a little bit longer.
That's amazing, coming from the only man who's ever got me drunk twice in the same day. And you did it on 2 separate occasions.
Yeah, I probably remember both of those. But that's pretty cool that I'm the only man that's done that, and I was able to do it twice. So that's pretty impressive.
It's because we drink so much in the morning, we have to take a midday nap, and then we start again. But
I do think this is our first picture we ever took together too, at the barn.
Yes, it was.
And I'll never forget that.
Yeah, we were the only 2 guys in line before the show for 3 hours who both brought beer.
That was actually the very first time I ever met Julie too. I think that's the first time we ever met Julie. It was at the barn. She was there with her mom, and that was a fun day, man. Because you guys were there with Jamie too. I think it was you guys and Jamie, and then Carla and I came later on, because that was my first trip to Florida. My first time ever in Florida, because we went to Daytona after that.
Yeah, we had met Jamie 2 or 3 shows earlier, and we met Julie once before.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. You and Carla were the first people in line. I think we were second.
I mean, Carla was always there, and I were always there early. We try to get there early.
I came straight from work.
Yeah. I used to do that a lot around here. Oh, hey, here we go. I was going to say, I got some pictures of the barn somewhere, I think. Let's see if this one loads up. So this was way back. What was it 2007, 2008?
It would have
I
been
think 2008.
It was either 7 or 8, yeah.
It was right after Church got married. It was right after Church got married, because I remember I still got a picture of him holding up his hand. It was the first picture anybody ever got with him with a wedding ring on. And he was just all grinning from ear to ear and has his wedding ring on. So I remember I was going to pull that picture when I was going through photos for tonight. I was like, I should pull that one.
Yeah, it probably was 08, because September of 07 was the first show I went to in Florida. So, yeah.
Okay. So tell me, before we really jump onto that, where did your musical journey start, man? I mean, where did everything lead you to country music or to church?
So interestingly enough, my parents were fans. You know my parents. They're fans of kind of every genre of music. And they have pictures of me being 2-3 years old with the old box stereo system in the corner of the living room with the big giant headphones on. at 3 years old listening to records. And I was probably about 6. I got my first 45 player in my bedroom, and it's always been, my parents have always had that love of music. My dad loved all different kinds of music. He was always exposing me to different things. Had 45 player in my room, had my own, always had a stereo in my room. As a kid, I remember my parents having lots of parties, and I was actually the party DJ before I could even get up. They had a 5-disc changer on top of that stereo at one point, and I would stand on a chair and program it. Of course, it's because I was the only one sober enough to still figure out how it worked, but that's kind of the way things go. So it was always like that. And then as I got into middle school, high school age, growing up in a small town, I started listening to the radio and being in my friends' cars and doing that kind of thing. And really, there were 2 stations to choose from where I grew up. For most people don't realize this, but most of New York is not New York City. I grew up in Western New York. There were 1,200 people in my hometown and 3,000 cows. So, we had an oldies station, we had a country station. You didn't really have many options, and I kind of got hooked on it then. And I remember first time I heard Eric, I had just moved to Florida. I was driving to work one morning at 5:30 in the morning or something, like, hey, there's a new single from this new guy, and they played it on the regular radio. I remember hearing it on the way to work and on the way home, and I went back and I downloaded the single that day that it came out, that day on iTunes in 2007 or whenever it was. How about you?
Do we have iTunes back then?
We did. I had an iTunes, but I had it on my computer, not on my phone.
That wasn't LimeWire, was it? We didn't get viruses from LimeWire.
I had LimeWire before that, but no, it's funny because it was about the time I switched to, actually buying my music. But no, it was one of the first singles I ever downloaded on Amazon, on Apple, that I actually paid for was, How About You, when it first came out. Awesome. And then I remember it was probably 6 or so months later, I was listening to XM radio in my truck, and they did a little 3-song clip of what was coming out on the album. And I was like, man, this album's going to be really good. And I went out and bought it the day it came out and literally listened to it back to back in my car for the next 6 months without ever changing it.
I actually got my first copy still framed on the wall. It's worn to hell. I remember because I signed up for he had a pre-order package. I saw him a month before the album dropped. So I signed up for the pre-order or whatever. And I remember a couple of days before the album came out, true church fashion, we got it a few days earlier. And I had this big yard or this big field by my apartment in Mississippi. And of course, the mailbox was on the other side of this dam. It was like the size of a football field, probably between my apartment door and where the mailbox was. And man, dude, the minute I got to that mailbox and opened it up and I saw that CD, I knew what it was. Dude, I bolted. I never ran so fast. I was running across that grass and got over there. I was like, threw that on. I don't think I'd taken it out yet. No.
And it's interesting because, a lot of people in the early days wondered what it was that hooked us. Right?
Yeah.
And the album was fantastic. I could listen to it on repeat for hours and hours while I was driving around doing whatever, and it never seemed like it got old. But it was really that first show. So that was September of 2007 in a bar that's no longer exists in Fort Myers called Ricochet. Drove 2.5 hours to get there.
What's it now? Just torn down?
I believe it's a shoe store or something. I haven't been by there in a while, but it's in an old Kmart Plaza. It's been a few different things, but it's not even a bar anymore.
That wasn't the old strip club, was it? Remember the one that was a strip club and then they turned it into a concert venue? That wasn't Georgia or somewhere?
That was North Carolina, wasn't it?
Was it North Carolina?
Wasn't that the Orange Field?
Yeah, everybody took the GPS that said it's taking them to a strip club.
Well, it was the Social Pleasure Club was the name of the place. So, but no, so we saw this show. We went and saw the show and standing in, I think, one of the first 2 rows. And the energy of the show was just amazing, as you guys remember from those days. But the thing that struck me more than anything was afterwards, Eric standing in the back, signing autographs, shaking people's hands, being a generally good guy like he always did back in those days. Still trying to get his name out, and there's hardly even a line for it. I'm just like, this is crazy. So I go back there, and I introduce myself to him, and he shakes my hand, looks me in the eye, and says, "Oh, so glad you came to the show. I saw you. Looked like you were having a good time." And then he looks at my girlfriend at the time and he goes, and what's your name? And it was just that gentlemanly thing about the fact that he actually cared what your names were. And it became a long running thing was as we saw him more and more, he never forgot my name. he never forgot where I was from. I mean, I think he assumed I was from Tampa because I saw him in Tampa most of the time. He played more shows there. But I remember being at shows in South Carolina and him being like, "You drove here from Tampa?" I'm like, technically Orlando, but close enough.
Yeah.
So it was interesting. The things that he always remembered who you were, and that was just
dude, yeah.
than people like that, you know.
I remember when I told him, it was right before I got married. I actually had him. I was having him sign my wedding, the boots I wore for my wedding or something. And I'm like, yeah, I'm getting married. He's like, oh, the same girl, maybe it's before I was getting engaged. He goes, oh, the same girl you've been with. I'm like, yeah. He goes, I like her. You better stay with her or something like that.
Yeah.
And he would take the time. And that's why I'm a big Tucker Beathard fan now, because he's the same way. Like, I'll just get a random text from him every now and then. Hey, tell the wife and boys I said hi. I hope they're well.
Yeah.
It's just that.
Yeah, I mean, even
that reminded me of
even now.
Yeah.
I think the most quintessential moment to see the difference in just how things have come along and how he really is the same person. And people don't realize this. You know, Eric's done a lot for us over the years as his fans, and has been very faithful to us as we have to him. But 2017 had been the first time in about 5 years that I'd stood in the front row at a concert. You know, we've been in the back or whatever. And finally said, you know, I'm going to go pit tickets. I'm going to go right up front. I'm going to get there early, do it. And we're standing there, and about 2 songs in, and I'm standing in the same spot I was, you know, 10 years earlier.
Yeah.
My first show. And same place I stood every concert, you know, back in those days. And driver looks down and he's like, holy shit, you're here. And he just stops playing, hands me a pick, gives me a hug, and says, I love you. And then, you know, you see people, and all of a sudden you see eyes light up, and you see a drumstick roll across the stage, and you see Ed come over and throw a pick. And then all of a sudden Eric looks down and he goes, holy shit. And he reaches over and he hands me this. And, you know, you go from there. And then as the night progressed, it was funny because this was part of that, what was the name of the tour? I kept trying to remember the first tour where we did 2 sets. Anyway.
Hold My Own.
Hold My Own, yes. It was doing Hold My Own tour. And he comes out in the beginning of the second set, takes 1 drink and hands me another one. I look at my buddies who I'm with, and I go, I guess I'm not driving tonight, guys. Somebody else is, because you know how he pours them. But like we.
Oh yeah, for sure, dude.
So,
no one's driving after that one for sure.
So you know and then the funniest part of that whole show was he stops at one point and goes, he's kind of getting ready. He's like, I'm gonna play something old, and he looks over and he goes, mouth the words, because it was a song off the Carolina album, and he could not. He was stumbling through it, and I was just kind of mouthing it, and he was picking it up. And it was one of those moments where if you hadn't seen him play 100 times before, you wouldn't have noticed. But because I'd seen it so many times, I could tell he was looking right at me, even though you know he's got the sunglasses on, staring straight out. But you could see his eyebrows pointing.
He yelled at me once because there was one time where I screwed up the lyric, and it actually screwed him up because I don't know if I was standing in front of they have those crowd mics or whatever. I don't know if I was standing in front of one of those where he goes, hey, you're saying the wrong lyric. I was like, well, don't listen to me when I'm drunk. So, I mean, he does that. I mean, I've heard he does that. Like, he'll look into the crowd and like watch people sing along. So that way he can kind of get back onto his, like, because he gets spaced out there, dude. He's church.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he definitely could get a little airheady at times. People don't believe that, but he can be.
Well, we've had some interesting moments, that's for sure.
So I want to talk about really quick. Just like we kind of talked about your first time, your first thoughts, but kind of when you got that first album, man, you really started digging into it. I mean, what really, other than like the guys like me, How About You and the main ones, what songs kind of stood out to you from the Sinners Like Me album?
You know, it's an interesting question because they all resonate differently.
Mm-hmm.
And you know,
have they like been like you? I'm sorry to cut you off on that one, but have they changed over time too with you?
Some of them have. So the interesting part for me, and this isn't just with Sinners. This is with every single Eric album. There is usually 1 to 2 songs on the album when I first hear it, I'm like, nah, I don't like that one. Yeah. And usually, within about 5 months, it's my favorite song on the album. Because it's one of those, there's something about those certain songs that he puts out that the more you listen to them, the more you gain an understanding of what he's actually saying as opposed to what the lyrics say.
Yeah.
But if I had to pick my favorite song on the first album, it'd be What I Almost Was.
Okay.
It's a song that resonates with me in a lot of ways personally, and is a very different song live.
Oh yeah, for sure.
For anybody who hasn't heard that song live, especially in the early days, the way they used to play it, I mean, it's not even the same song.
So, what were You Almost Was then?
Well, there was, there's that intended path, right?
Yeah.
It was that high school athlete that, was out, straight A student, all that. And then college, I blew out my knee, which resonates obviously with that song. And, my whole life changed. I didn't want to go to school anymore. I just wasn't that guy. I didn't care about the things that I did then. And I ended up dropping out of college, which I'm now back in school.
Congrats, man. What are you back in school
for? So I'm just getting ready to start again. So I'd gone back a while back and done my associate's degree, even though I've been working the same company for about 12 years, and my boss kind of said, hey, it's time to go and finish your bachelor's. So I'm hoping to start this semester, actually, working on a degree in organizational leadership. So,
okay.
I've been with the company for 12 years, and my customers are colleges, so I kind of need to have a degree at this point. I've got a very good. I've been lucky to do very well, and the work ethic I've learned from athletics being young kind of got me to where I am professionally. But if things had gone according to plan, I wouldn't be the man I am right now.
Do they ever go according to plan, though? Does anything?
They do for some people, not me. It's never going to go to plan for me. But every one of those bumps along the way is why we are the people we are. Yeah. I would have never met you. I probably, I would have never known all these great people. Friends, experiences, and all these things we did. They would not have happened without that one incident where my knee blew out and it kind of changed my whole life. So that's why that song resonates.
Exactly. I mean, I think back of all the people I've met over the years with the choir and like how I've met them or anything else. And it's like how kind of like one person's music has started so many relationships, like just like on the side of like you and I. I mean, this picture down here, I wanted to talk about this, was sent to me. I don't know if you sent it to me or who did send it to me, but the night of my wedding, I am sitting in my wedding suite or bridal suite or whatever in this hotel in Lake Geneva, Wisconsin. And you guys are all back in Kenosha, Wisconsin. I get this picture where all my closest friends are hanging out together. Like my good friends from back in the day and my friends from the church choir are all hanging out together. It's like, damn. And I'm sitting like having a cigar on the balcony and my wife is passed out of the bed. I'm like, this sucks. They're having a blast. I almost want to get an Uber and come back. But it's been cool, man, because like you said, just the path. And we've had these friendships where, I mean, we were in each other's weddings and we've done things where you never would have done things with these people if it wasn't for one person's music. So it's been really cool to kind of see the journey about this. And kind of going into that is, what was like kind of your first interaction with the church choir?
So really, it was that day I met you and Carla at the barn in Sanford. That was the first kind of time I really got to meet anybody other than the couple of people I knew around Florida, my ex and a couple of friends of ours and different things. And then the real big first real church choir kind of event beyond just meeting one or two people was that day we all went to Baton Rouge in 2008, 2009, when we rented out half the floor of a hotel and ate crawfish and all sorts of things. And
that was like the first. Well, we had about 3 reunions before they started bringing them back to reunions a couple years ago, which is phenomenal. What Scott Stables has been doing has been awesome with these reunions. But I'm going to tell you that what we did in Baton Rouge, man, I don't know. Some of that stuff needs to go to the grave, though.
Yeah, there are some parts of those. There's some stories there that do not need to. The Baton Rouge stories are bad. It's the next day in New Orleans that's even worse.
Oh man! So Lori Pino, she's been on the show before. I know she's watching in the crowd tonight. She actually, her, Carla, and I don't know who else, all kind of went in and threw this really big reunion down in Louisiana. So Eric was playing in Baton Rouge at the Varsity, I think it was, and after that we all went to New Orleans for the day. And I want to tell you, you don't want to let the choir loose in New Orleans. Things happen. There was brown paper bags being put around. I mean, we were on Bourbon Street. I don't know what we were all getting into.
Aaron, I'm pretty sure you and I drank a bottle of Jack walking through a ghost store. If I recall correctly.
Oh, yeah, we did do a ghost tour that weekend, didn't we?
Yeah,
I
we did.
remember that. Because it was like, I have a picture of like a big ass spider in a window or something, some random shit. Yes, Lori, it was a great weekend. I'm sure we'll be talking about it in a couple more weeks too on my 50th episode, but it was a phenomenal weekend. We had people from all over come down, and it was just, dude, so much fun. And Lori's, I think it was her dad. I know we talked about this when Lori was on too, owns some property somewhere in Louisiana. I forgot what town it was. Yeah, it was the first time we threw the money. Yeah, it was the first time we did have the money. And we actually got to go to this gator farm, or where they had gators and all this other stuff. It was really cool. That's what this picture here is. My parents.
I think that was the farm. I think we were just on a road somewhere where Lori knew there were gators. Northerners don't really understand that, Lori. They don't understand it. We can just pull by almost any body of water and find them in the South. But
dude, that was like when Jillian and I, when my wife and I came down for your wedding, dude. We went to, I don't know if it was that weekend or afterwards, we ended up staying in Fort Myers Beach. We ended up buying a timeshare, which is phenomenal. We're paying it off this year or next year. And so, yeah, it's been about 10 years because we're going to be paying it off. And we're still going to be going it, but I just love going down there. And just Fort Myers Beach, just learning that whole area was just awesome, dude. Yeah, let's see. Try to go through all of these.
Yeah, some of the interesting things about that trip to New Orleans. I mean, that was, just a plug for later for those of you who aren't patrons. If you go ahead and join up, we'll be talking Jason Speed later. And that was the first day I met Jason. And funny enough, we were both from Florida. We had to meet in Louisiana. But him and I have become very good friends. We spend quite a bit of time together now.
Yeah, you guys been hanging out a lot this year. Here's an old picture.
Oh yeah.
So I was digging for some photos, man. I wanted to find some good ones for this show because I knew I got some good ones. If you guys are listening back on the streaming, you can always find these episodes on either Facebook or YouTube if you want to come back and see some of these photos that we do talk about here or there. I did pull a couple of videos for tonight. We might try to play a couple later on. We'll see. I don't know. No promises because I'm worried about playing videos anymore on here, mainly because of just the background volume and the everything else. So there you go. There's an old picture from New Orleans. That's probably like midnight or 1 a.m.
Who knows? We sang karaoke in some bar where we had a 2-foot rat run across the floor.
So what?
I don't even know how we found our hotel that night.
Because Jillian, the girls stayed sober. They always do.
Yeah, that's true.
The girls
were sober. They were sober-ish. I'm pretty sure they were drinking grenades that night.
Here's this picture. Weren't we singing Two Pink Lines and we had like a pregnant lady walk across the stage too at one point? Or like walk in front, like stop and get us and like give us this dirty look?
Yes, that did happen. But why is a pregnant lady in a karaoke bar on Bourbon Street?
I don't know, but I think I got a... What's this?
I think I can hear the girls more than us.
Yeah, we had some fun on that one. Yeah, so I'll play a little bit of that video, a little teaser. That was fun, though. Yeah, definitely, Corey, some classic photos, dude. That New Orleans trip was a lot of fun because that's what we would do. And that's what Eric used to always comment on. Eric Church would always say that he liked how, yeah, we were all there for the music and we supported the music, but he liked to see the relationships that we built outside of the choir, outside of the concerts. Like we'd always get together, we would do stuff. And I like to see that it still happens today where you make the best out of the whole trip. And that was something we always used to do back in the day. And I think that really for Eric, that's what something he would love to see, that we were doing more than just the concert and we were the bonds that were forming between everybody. So, did I lose you? Are you there?
No, I'm still here.
Yeah.
I was enchanted by your short.
So let's see, where am I at? Oh, damn, we're flying through this tonight. Look at this. We talked about that. So you told me a little story before we kind of start getting off topic of Eric's church and the church choir. You told me a story of back in the day about his birthday, and he was playing in Tampa, Florida. I want to know more about this because I must have missed this story. I forgot over the years.
This was an interesting night. So it was, I think it was 2009, maybe. It was right around his birthday. I think it was on his birthday. He was playing a bar called the Dallas Bowl. If you haven't been to the Dallas Bowl, it is probably one of the fanciest country bars you'll ever see. And it's gorgeous. You walk in, huge dance floor, beautiful stage, private VIP bar, obviously mechanical bulls in the back, seating upstairs, all sorts of stuff.
Good thing I've never been there before.
Valet parking at a country bar, which you don't see very often.
Not at all.
So Eric was on the radio during the day with the radio host.
Yeah.
They were getting to him and somehow managed to get him accidentally. Somehow in the interview, the radio host accidentally slipped where Eric was supposed to be staying that night. So he had absolutely no desire to leave. Interesting point. This was the first night I met Marshall. When Marshall was doing merch, because I kept having to cover for him when we went to the bathroom and other things, but covering for Marshall when he was doing that. But Eric's hotel had kind of been compromised, so they did not want to go back to the hotel. So as we did in those days, and you definitely recall this, show ends, everybody else is going to the bar to get them their drink. We just walked around the outside of the building, went to where their bus was, started talking with the guys.
Yeah.
And Eric mentioned that Eric and the guys kind of mentioned, we're probably not going to go. We're probably just going to drive straight to our next show. We're going to be here for quite a while tonight because our hotel got leaked. But you guys should hang out with us for a little bit and grab just a couple of beers. And we sat there talking. He goes, we mentioned, hey, happy birthday. And he says, oh shit, yeah, we got like 4 cakes. Can I bring you guys some cake off the bus? He comes out and brings us cake, and it was just an interesting night because we stood there for probably, I don't know, they probably got done playing, 11:30, 12 o'clock?
Yeah.
I don't remember getting in my car till like 4. Right? We just stood there talking, and the funniest part was standing there, because where we were standing, the valets were running to get the cars, so they were running between us and the bus.
Oh, man.
And Eric, every time one of them would run by, Eric would just die laughing. He's like, I've played 1,000 places. I've never seen this. It's the weirdest thing. He's like, we were joking about tripping them and whatever else. And, it was just an interesting night because we sat there for hours talking about nothing. And you know how those kind of conversations went. Literally, I think my favorite quote from that night was, at one point he stopped us, or one of us stopped him, and the quote was, "You say ice like I say ass," because he was trying to get more ice or something. You know how Eric's twang, he said ass, and we're like, ass? What do you need ass for? Ice for his drink, and it was just a silly little thing, but it was one of those things that will always ring in my mind. And it was probably 4 a.m. talking about how life on the road, random food items, whatever it was, songs that he was thinking about covering. And people see all the covers now, but they don't. Early back in those days, there was only 1 or 2 a night, and they were very different from some of the stuff he plays now.
Yeah, he used to always ask too, like before, like if I ran into him before a show, hey, what kind of covers do you want to hear tonight, man? If I do a cover, what do you want to hear? I'm like, I don't know. Just do whatever. Back in the day,
he said to us before that show in Baton Rouge, he goes, "Would it be sacrilegious if I played Buddy Holly tonight?"
It wasn't in February or anything, but yeah, I remember him talking about that. So I got this picture of all of us by a bus and this long white or yellow banner. Talk a little bit about what we did on the 10-year anniversary.
So that was an interesting trip. So we came from about 35, 40 of us came from across the country to where Aaron lives over there in just north of Chicago. Rented out a couple of different motels and different things, and we got together and had a little reunion of our own. What's that?
I said you always got to rent out a couple of rooms with the choir in case you get kicked out of the first one. Yeah.
We had a little 10-year party for Eric's first album. So the weekend that Eric's first album had dropped, 10 years later, there was actually a concert about, an hour and a half north of where Aaron lives. Big, huge festival. Lots of sweaty, nasty people. But we got together that weekend. We all flew up. I think it was either Thursday or Friday. Spent Friday night down at Aaron's house. Had a little barbecue that was catered, and kind of got caught up in the rain underneath tents and in his garage and in the basement where he's at now. And really got to see people we hadn't seen in a long time, because some of us hadn't been able to travel as much, and the shows got it got to where it was a little harder to do the things we used to do in the early days. So we kind of got to get a chance to get back together, and then we had a little picnic area that we went to the next day, kind of hung out there, and then finally got to go and see the show. And we were lucky enough to get a chance to see Eric for a moment and do a quick shot with him before he went on stage, which was fun. But yeah, it was really nice to get back around people, because when we first started doing this, we would travel all over the country. I mean, I've seen Eric in 8 or 9 different states, and I couldn't tell you how many different shows I've been to. I'm not like Aaron. I couldn't keep track. I mean, there was like 3 or 4 in a day at some points. But, we could travel all over and go to all these shows because it was $10-15 a show. We were going to – you go to 4 on a weekend, and your bar bill for 1 round of drinks was more than the actual time. So
yeah. That's funny. Lori actually has a point. I'm wondering if she ever asked Staples that question, because that's something that I wondered too. When we used to book the hotel rooms, and we would try to get them like blocks for all these concerts, they'd actually think we were a church choir, like a real church choir coming in and wanting to stay at this hotel. And little did they know, this church choir brought Jack Daniels.
Lots of it.
So this part on the screen right now is a video, and I want to share this video. I've never shared this before anywhere. Publicly, but I'm going to share this video, and it's more for the audio of it, but it was really cool. RJ did mention we got to see Eric really quick before he went on stage, and what was cool about it was July 2006 was when the album was released, and the first place Eric Church played after Sinners Like Me was released was a Wednesday, because the albums used to come out on Tuesday, so he played the next day in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin at Country Thunder. And I was up there. I remember seeing him. That was one of the first. Actually, that was the first time I ever met Church. Was the day after the Sinners Like Me came out. I got to see him a month before that, but I didn't get to meet him that time. So the very first time I did get to meet him was the day after the album came out. And I'm signed a guitar somewhere around here. And then on the 10-year anniversary, he played the very first. On the 10-year anniversary, the album was at Country Thunder in Twin Lakes, Wisconsin. So it was kind of odd. And there was about probably 20, 25 of us, or close to 30 of us, that you can see here all got on this bus. We all had custom shirts made, and did this big thing that this group that calls the Original Church Choir, they've been following them for a while. Little did we know, we got to where Eric was playing, and we all had a meet and greet waiting for us. And when we got back there, it wasn't no individual meet and greet, so we didn't get any special treatment like that or anything else. It was just a really quick. We got to go back, and Eric had a shot for all of us. And right before Eric ever goes on stage, he always does like a shot with the band or anything else. So it was pretty cool, because he had all these shots, and he had a little speech beforehand. So you will hear a drunk Greg Spencer yelling in the background here and there. Let's see if we can hear this. I'm going to mute my mic real quick.
There's that keg of spotted cow.
We know. Years. Can't believe it's been 10 years.
I know.
Yeah. All over 7H.
You're looking fit, dude. You're looking fit.
We couldn't do anything without you guys, and indebted to you. I love you guys very much.
Oh, you guys can't hear me, huh? Yeah. So
Okay, I was over here like trying to fix my audio, and I was like, "What is going on here?"
I've been over here talking this whole time since then. I'm sorry, guys. I forgot to unmute me because I was muting myself for the thing. So it was really cool what Eric did in that video, though. He brought us all back there and told us that he was kind of forever indebted to us because that was the group that really was there, that really led the charge back in the day for him. And it would really be sorry, Lori. Yeah, that was my fault. I muted myself for the video so you guys could hear the video, and then when I came back on, I never unmuted myself. So I was just talking like yeah.
That's right. I was legit like messing with my microphone.
Dude, I heard
like,
you
what's
clicking.
going on?
I'm like, what's he clicking? I'm like, what is he doing in the background? Sorry, I do apologize. But yeah, so he did that, totally surprise us, brought back a group of like 30 of us. We did a quick group photo, and then we did a shot with him. And it was really cool that he recognized us after 10 years. And it was really kind of like we were the grassroots for this guy. And it was just word of mouth. I mean, we would tell one person, and that person would tell somebody, and it would just grow. And he'd play a venue with 10 people there, and the next time he'd come back, I'd have 50. The next time I'd have 100. And I mean, now he's breaking records in LP Field or Nissan Stadium now. So I still call it LP Field, but whatever.
I remember Lori and I having the conversation about having extra CDs in our glove box.
Yeah, dude.
And giving them to people back in the day because people didn't know who he was or where to get his music, or going into Walmarts and moving his CDs to the front so people would see him when they walked through. Stuff like that.
One of the coolest things, I don't know where I was. One of the cool things, one of the funniest things, I don't know where I was or what I was doing, but I was at a gas station. I don't know who was with me. This guy. I mean, I'm talking about had the thing tied around his neck like the sweater. It looked like he just got off the tennis courts or something. No offense, Corey. I know you're listening, and you're a tennis guy. But blaring Rascal Flatts, dude, pulls into this gas station in a convertible, and I had it was either Sinners or Carolina. I forgot which album. I had a copy unopened, still sealed in my car. I'm like, got it out, went over, handed it to him. I'm like, dude, you might want to give this a listen. When he left the gas station, he was listening to church. I was like, all right, I did my good duty for today. So tell me a little bit about this tattoo, man. Before I know I want to move on to a couple other topics, but let me know a little bit about this.
So yeah, I mean, I'd gotten in my teens and 20s, I'd gotten a number of tattoos, and I went about 10 years where I didn't get any. It was just kind of waiting for the right moment. Was really trying to put a lot of thought into it. You know, there was a couple of different things that, you know, and I started looking at, if I'm going to get more, I want things that represent who created me and what created me to be the man I am, and kind of how I've gotten to this point. So the first one I went back and got was actually a USA Wrestling tattoo. I was a wrestler for my whole life. That was a big part of who I was. But when I really thought about a lot of the growth I had as an adult, it came back to the time I spent with the people in this group, and the time, you know, the things I learned from people all over the country that I knew so well. And, you know, and I'd always wanted to get a church tattoo, but I didn't want it to be something that didn't make sense for me. And so it was kind of tying together, you know, that growing in life and the people who had inspired me and taught me things with my love for the music and, you know, my love for the man and all the things that we've been through. So I thought it was the perfect kind of symbol to take. And I have to give a lot of props to the artist, Rick Agro, who did it. He took a picture off of that T-shirt that we had from years ago, and he hand drew the bottom of that skull and the bottom half of that cross, you know, just on my leg as he was doing. So
that looks really cool, man. Yeah, it looks
really good job.
Makes me jealous. Now I'm like, damn, can I do that? Okay, modify
I've actually got to go get. He actually wants to do more with it. I got to go back here in the next few months. I did it the last day before they quarantined us.
Yeah.
Everybody's aware, so I haven't had a chance to go back because the shop's just opening up.
I'm gonna tell you one thing I found out about tattoos, man. A lot of my tattoos are just random. Like I was just been at the right place at the right time where it's like I want to get a tattoo. So I'm just going to go get a tattoo, and I'm just going to and there's random one-offs. It's like, I'm actually right now planning a tattoo because I want to get a lot of my left arm done and kind of just fill it in with a half sleeve. When you plan a tattoo, it's so much more, it's hard because it's like, I've said 4 different times, oh, I want this. And I'm like, no, I don't. So like, I haven't really jumped on anything yet because I haven't got anything that I actually want to get. It's like, dang, it sucks to plan it. I need to drink again because I would just drink and just get a random tattoo.
Yeah, I think every one of mine I planned at least a year in advance. So
okay.
I'm upset.
I was never able to plan mine. I would just get them out of whim. Just
I'm up to 6 now, and I've got 4 more planned. So we'll see where that goes. But
nice. So I do want to talk about a couple of things real quick. One being, I want to talk about really. You mentioned a little bit. You did some wrestling, and now you're coaching. So I want you to kind of talk about. Just kind of really got into like the whole wrestling aspect. I mean, yeah, the fake stuff all day, every day. But tell me what really got you into wrestling and kind of what keeps you involved in.
So my dad was actually a state champion in high school, and I had cousins and things that wrestled when we were kids, and they got me into it at about 5 years old. And my dad, when I was about 10 or 12, became our kids team coach. And so I did it from the time I was little all the way up through high school and into college. That's how I blew up my knee. That was really the driving force that actually got me to go to college initially, was athletics. It was a sport unlike any other. I played baseball, I played, soccer, different things. And wrestling was always different because it was one-on-one. I didn't have to rely on anybody else. I could outwork my opponents. I could out-practice them. I could out-train them. And I could win without anybody else's help. And I was always a self-dependent type, so that's what drove me to that sport. And as I got into my late 20s, early 30s, I really found that I missed that kind of connection that I had with it, and wanted to give back to the sport that gave me so much. I started, as you're talking about my career earlier, I started at 22 years old working in a call center, making $14 an hour. Now I'm in a prestigious position where I'm making quite a bit more than that.
Yeah.
And I've been with the company for a long time, and really the reason I got there is because of the work ethic I learned on the wrestling mat. So I looked at that and I said, how do I affect change in our world today?
Yeah.
A lot of people are looking at politics and different things. My thing is, I want to teach youth, and I want to teach them how to work hard, what hard work means, and what success means. Because if you know what success really is, and you know what hard work is, you can actually contribute more to society. So that's kind of why I got back into coaching. I coached at a public school for 6 years. In that time, we won 6 district tournaments. We sent all 14 kids from the district into the region tournament 4 of those 6 years, and we placed in the top 15 in the state 4 times.
Dude, that's
had numerous state placers. So I had to stop doing the work now, and I'm doing some private tutoring for a couple of different kids on the side at this point.
Actually got a little bit of a video I'm going to play. I'm going to mute myself again before I play this. So I'm going to try to remember not to mute me. Unmute me when I come back. So let me play this a little bit.
How many days till Metro? How many days till districts? How many days till regions? How many days states? Quite frankly, I don't give a shit how you do in any tournament all year long. You place in the top 4 in the district. You place in the top 4 in the region. An opportunity to be a state. Any day, anybody can be beaten. Any day.
All right. I don't know. Do you even hear that?
I don't know. It was like it was just like freezing up on me. I don't know.
Was it? I think on my end too. So that was a video I saw online that of you just kind of coaching a kid. And man, I was watching a little bit after you wrestling around. I wish I would have got back or into wrestling back in the day. It's something I just never really got into, and I wish I would have. It looked like so much fun. It just looked like a sport that you really have to work hard on.
Well, it's the saying we always taught the kids when we were coaching was hard work will beat talent if talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah.
So
Agree. So let's see. There's a saying I was gonna try to ask you about, but I forgot what it was now. So I'm not gonna ask you. Because there's something that Jillian or my wife was asking me not too long ago about, because she got some bracelets in the mail, and it was about something about talent or something like, or hard work beats talent or something like that. I heard that quote. I think that's what it was. Hard work beats talent. And sometimes, I mean, yeah, but sometimes you almost gotta argue that too, in a way. Because it depends. I mean, I can work
hard
really
work
hard to be a
beats
singer,
talent if
but I
talent
can't
doesn't work hard.
What's that?
That's why it's hard work beats talent if talent doesn't work hard.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
you've got the talent and the work ethic, you can do anything. You don't have
Exactly.
it doesn't matter how talented you are. The guy outworks you. He's going to beat you every day.
So you're kind of every woman's dream out there, in a way.
That's not true.
But you gotta tell me about this cooking, dude, because I kind of watch a lot of your stuff. You do a lot of cooking. What got you into this, man? Into just cooking in general?
So my grandfather was actually a chef, and he made my dad work in restaurants with him from the time he was a teenager, and so every one of my uncles, and so every man in my family was kind of taught to cook, and that was kind of a thing. And I was probably about 8-9 years old when I started requesting things to eat, and my dad said, "Okay, here," he pulled the chair up and said, "This is how you make this," and kind of walked me through the basics of cooking at 8-10 years old. And as I got older, I got into high school and with wrestling, I had a special diet. And my parents said, "Cool, we'll buy you the food. We're not cooking 2 dinners. Learn to make your own food." And I did. And really, it was one of those things that slowly evolved over time from, making little things here and there and learning how to do it to slowly starting to experiment. Everybody has their creative thing, their creative outlet. You have this podcast, you have a lot, everybody's got their thing. And for me, it was my way of being creative. It was like, all right, how can I make this thing? I'd go to a restaurant, I'd like something, I'd be like, I bet I can make that at home. And then I'd slowly modify it. And, I not gonna lie, I make all sorts of different things. And some of them are different ethnic foods or different, from different parts of the world or different parts of the country. And I bastardize them to make them taste the way I want them to or look the way I want them to. But it's really just a thing for me to have a little fun. And, I work all day at a computer doing this kind of drudging, customer job where I'm dealing with people all day long. This is my one way of going, all right, I'm going to completely disconnect. This is my thing. I'm going to think through this. I'm going to take, and sometimes it's, all right, I want to make X, and I go to the store and I buy all this stuff. And sometimes it's, all right, I thought out a piece of chicken. What the hell am I going to do with this? And so I find it and I start throwing stuff together. And then it's about making it look pretty and seeing, it's more about people not being, it's surprising the crap out of people when they see it, when they come over for the first time or they see the post, they're like, really, you made that? I'm like, yeah. It gives me something to do. It's not work. It's not, I get bored with television or with, that kind of thing. I want some kind of an outlet where I need something to make me think and make me work. And that's kind of my way of doing it. So.
Okay. I like that, man. I like that. It's really cool. I mean, because I could cook some, breakfast, but that's about all I can cook.
Yeah, I almost started a food truck last year. I had some people trying to talk me into it. I was playing with a concept. I didn't end up doing it. Too many rules with, food service industry. But I was actually taking ethnic food and comfort food meals and shrinking them into tacos.
Oh, wow.
So we were doing like chicken fried rice tacos or chicken parm tacos. Or,
dude, that's awesome.
Boneless wings with fries and blue cheese and celery and carrots on a taco. Stuff like that. We were playing around with it. I had about 10 of them on the menu. And then I looked at what it's going to cost me. I'm like, it's going to take me 10 years to make my money back.
All right, man. Well, every week, have you seen the show at all? I have a game that I play, and I ask 9 questions. You got like 60 seconds to answer them, and it's regular common questions. So you up for it? You ready?
Sure, why not?
All right. So if you had a dream music crossroads episode, 2 artists, different genres, who would it be?
That's an interesting one. I would love to see some, a classic, a 90s country artist. I love 90s country. So like an Alan Jackson crossover with a punk band, because I think it's an interesting dichotomy. I mean, and name your favorite punk band of like a Fall Out Boy or something, right? Could you imagine Fall Out Boy singing Alan Jackson and vice versa? Just because it's that strange, like straight across from each other kind of move.
That's hilarious, man. First cassette tape you ever owned?
First cassette tape. That is a great question. I can tell you the first 45 I ever owned. So we'll start with that.
What's the first 45 then?
So that was Led Zeppelin. It was Fool in the Rain on one side and Hot Dog on the other.
60 seconds is over. We got 2 questions in. I love it. That's why I always leave like 3 or 4 minutes for the segment, because I'm like, we never get through in 60 seconds. Your dream concert venue to see Church play that you've never seen them play at before?
That'd be tough. I mean, I would love to see him play a stadium where he's a headliner. So I've seen him in stadiums, but to see him play any of the stadiums here in Florida that I've been to. To be honest, if I'm going to be super selfish, I'm going to go Mile High because I love Denver, and I would love give me a good reason to go there too.
All right, there we go. I've never been to Denver, dude. I definitely got to get out that way.
Oh, it's a fun
What's been your 2020 quarantine hobby?
Ordering random shit on my phone off the internet.
We got the Amazon driver like every other day at our house now.
It's bad when you start ordering off the random Facebook ads because you're bored. But
I agree.
That and determining whether I'm going to drink on the patio or in the living room because there's nothing else to do.
What was your first job? I know we kind of talked about what you almost was, but what was your very first job you ever had?
I actually worked at a college in the IT department. We're doing desktop support.
Oh, wow. I mean, that's pretty killer for your first job. What's your favorite Eric Church lyric?
Favorite lyric? That's a hard one because it really depends on the mood I'm in or what I'm going through at the time. The one that one of the ones that resonated with me came off one of the most recent albums, and it was when I was going through some things personally, and it was bartender, pour some whiskey on this drowning man. Yeah. That and at that point I was not in a great place in my life, so it was it really resonated.
I hear you, man. I definitely hear you. That's the way it has to. I mean, sometimes it hits different. That's why I was talking about like the albums. I mean, they start coming out in 2006, so we're 14 years deep now, and things now these days I go back and listen to them are definitely hitting differently than they did 13, 14 years ago. So, what's been your favorite Halloween costume you ever wore?
Favorite Halloween costume I ever wore. I've had some good ones. I think the one year when we did a Halloween party and we did evil Disney basically, and I was the prince from The Little Mermaid, except for I had the mermaid's blood all over me because I had caught her with and I was carrying a fishing pole because I caught her. That was probably my favorite. It was one of my more creative ones.
That's hilarious. All right. Your guilty pleasure with music. So like something that like a song or an artist you like that you would hate to admit.
I can go with a whole genre because it's terrible, but I love 80s hair bands. Like in a way that is just ridiculous. Poison and Motley Crue and that whole like era. It's so awful, but so good at the same time.
I agree, man. I can definitely get down some Poison every now and then. I think there was a time when I went to a church and Poison played the night before. All right, man. The last one is item that's still on your bucket list that you still want to complete.
So actually, I've got a really interesting one I'm working through right now. So I've started in the last couple of years trying to visit as many U.S. cities as I can. Okay. So I want to do the all 50 states thing, but it's more about visiting the most unique city in every state, the place that defines that state. Yeah. So that's kind of my thing right now. And I had 4 of them planned this year. And
my wife and I, we got this thing now. So whenever we go out or if we're on the road, we get this app called like Roadside America, and it's pretty cool because like you go on there, it'll tell you can say like 5 miles or 10 miles off my route. And it'll tell you all these like weird, quirky things that you could stop at. So my goal now is like to hit like 250 of those or something to see like it's like the world's largest ball of string and just different weird things, man. Like if I found like James Dean's summit or gravesite and just different things I would never go to see because I didn't know I was so close to them when you drive right past them.
Yeah, the way I've been kind of doing it is I fly into a city. I don't rent a car. I fly in. I pick a city. I fly in on a Friday morning, and I fly out on Monday afternoon, and I walk out of the hotel, and I just kind of start. I pull up a brewery or a bar or something, and I go and I sit down. Yeah. I talk to the people who work there, talk to locals, and just kind of explore organically the city, and then start meeting people who are local and have them tell me where to go. Yeah, really experience their city, and it's been a really interesting thing that I've done over the past couple of years.
Well, that is awesome. Well, man, this hour went by so quick, which I knew it would. I knew it was going to be so fast, and then I was like, "Oh my God, it's time to go!" No. So, dude, I'm so glad we got to catch up tonight. We have an awesome after show plan that's going to be happening very, very soon. about 20 minutes. We're going to be hopping on the after show. So if you guys are in the chat, make sure you hop on over to the Patreon page. I will send you the link when you sign up. I'll email you the link right away for the Facebook page where you can go ahead and find tonight's after show. But RJ, dude, thank you so much for spending so much time with me tonight. And dude, it's been great. And if you pick another random city, I know you already been here, but pick like Milwaukee or Chicago and come see me for a little bit.
I haven't done Milwaukee, so we might have to do that one.
All right, if you do Milwaukee, I'm there. I'll come up and meet you.
All right.
I'll have an ice water with you.
Yeah.
All right, dude.
Be my guide.
Go take you a break, and I'll talk to you again in about 15, 20 minutes.
All right, sounds good.
Thanks, Ben. Bye. Guys, that was another amazing, amazing show. RJ, he's a different type of guy, man. He's a different breed. The heart this guy has and everything about him just is why I've been such good friends with the guy because of who he is as a person and just so free-willed too as well. Just hop on a plane and pick a city and let's go check this city out today. So, but thank you guys again for joining us for episode 47. Just like I said, amazing time tonight with RJ, and just so good to catch up with him because I know we haven't really got to catch up much the last year or two, and we both have so much going on in our lives. So it was really cool to kind of catch up and really just talk to him tonight. But if you guys want to hear some really cool stories, maybe some stuff that we couldn't share on this main page, we are going to hop over on our after show, Patreon after show. The link is in the comments. It's a private Facebook page. So when you sign up for Patreon, make sure you keep an eye on your messages on Patreon because once I get that notification you signed up, I'll send the link out. I do have a couple that I got to catch up on that came in during the show that I'll send out here during the break. So about 15, 20 minutes, we will be over on that page hanging out. So thank you guys again for everything tonight, for the show, for supporting the show. I'm probably going to have something really cool to announce in a couple, or probably, I don't know, next show or after, about just kind of like where the show's been going with numbers wise, which is kind of just amazing. I'm blown away by what's going on. So thank you guys again for watching the show, for sharing the show, for being a part of our Patreon and everything else out there. I really appreciate it. Huge shout out to all of our sponsors, especially Arlo Revolution, who's our main sponsor. If you need anything done in the video world, make sure you contact them. They do amazing work. Other than that, I'll see you guys in about 20 minutes if you're on our page. If not, I'll see you next week. We're going to have another good one next week. So take care, be good, and do something nice for your neighbor if you can. See you guys soon.
The Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver is brought to you by Arlo Revolution. As we close the book on another chapter, remember, music gives a soul to the universe, wings to the mind, flight to the imagination, and life to everything. Next week, Aaron connects more melodies and memories with other fans and the artists they love. Thanks for being a part of this musical journey, and we'll see you next time on the Gainin Fast on Memphis podcast with Aaron Shriver.